All right, guys, welcome back to my channel. I am driving right now back to my temporary living situation right now, and I just wanted to kind of hop on and chat about my thoughts about being back in New York and what it's like for me back as a native New Yorker. Well, almost native New Yorker. I grew up in New York since I was 2 months old, a little bit less than that. What's up, Noah? Hope you guys can see me a little bit. I'm on the highway right now, so I can't really turn on any lights. But anyway, so I'm back in New York now, guys, New York City, and I gotta say, like, the first feeling I had when I got here was just this feeling of like depression and sadness. And it's a complicated feeling because it's for a lot of different reasons. The other thing is, winter here is coming in New York soon, and I absolutely hate the cold. Now, I think it'd be nice to like experience winter for a few days, but after that, it's like enough's enough. So knowing that the time is ticking here for warm weather, that's just, I don't even have the wardrobe anymore to be here. Like, I don't have clothes to be warm in New York anymore. I would literally have to go buy a whole new wardrobe beyond hoodies. Like, I would need winter coats, I would need thermals, flannels, fleece, I need all that crap, which I'm not about. I'm a summer guy, you know? So anyway, guys, let me tell you what happened yesterday, 2 days ago. I went to a barbecue in Sunnyside, Queens, and what you're going to notice about New York City is that a lot of New York now has become hipster, right? It used to be that you'd have to go to like Brooklyn to find the hipsters, but it seems like now the default setting for men and women is to be a hipster here. So I go to this barbecue in Sunnyside, and everybody at this barbecue, except for like the black guys, which there was like one of them, but everyone at this barbecue was looking really pale and sickly. And that makes sense because even though it is summertime in New York City, most people work in an office. So they don't get sunlight. They only get sunlight when they're walking to work from the train or when they're done with work at like 6 or 7. So these New Yorkers are sunlight deprived. So they just look sickly. Secondly, I was by far the most jacked guy there in the barbecue. By far. Every guy there was either like skinny or out of shape. Now, I'm not judging them for that, which I am judging them for that. But it's just like when you live in Florida, California, even Thailand, people are like lean and like they're like healthy looking and like they're got good tans, they got muscles. So anyway, there's this one dude that comes in with like this weird curly hair mullet, and I look at his shirt, and his shirt says in big letters ACAB. So I'm looking at that guy and I'm like, why the hell would you wear an all cops are bastards shirt out? Like, why would you do that? So I'm pretty turned off by this guy. But then I take a second look and I realize that it's actually a t-shirt of a cat. And I realize it says all cats are bastards. So then I like kind of laugh because like, that's pretty funny actually. But then I look a third time and I realize it actually says all cats are beautiful. So I completely messed that up. But the biggest part of the t-shirt was the ACAB, gigantic letters. So anyway, now he's talking to this chick, and this girl has hairy armpits, very pale, a little out of shape. And I write about her on my Facebook status, and I say something like, you know you're in New York when the men wear ACAB shirts and the women have hairy armpits. So then I was going to make a joke that her pronouns were they and them, but I decided not to make that joke. I find out after the barbecue, she actually goes by the pronouns they and them. And I was like, yo, New York City's people have become satire. So now let's go to last night. Last night I ended up in Bushwick. Bushwick is a neighborhood in Brooklyn. It's been gentrified. These people just look so unhealthy, man. And they all wear like, it's like this weird mix of goth meets hipster. I don't know how to explain it. But they're all pale. They're all out of shape. Whether they're too skinny because they're not eating or exercising, they probably smoke too many cigarettes or do too much cocaine, or they probably drink too much. And I used to be like that, so I get it. But man, like the difference in people in Florida And New York is unbelievable. And the crazy part is these New Yorkers think they're stylish. Like they really think that they're like in the cutting edge of fashion. I don't think they realize how bad they look. I mean, I'm not a fashionable guy. We all know this about me. But this is absurd. So now tonight I go to buy some recreational medical marijuana for myself. Because in New York it's illegal, which is the one good thing the Democrats are for. So I decide to pick up some nice, weak medical marijuana. And I also wanted to go down to St. Mark's Street, which is like a... St. Mark's is in like the Lower East Side. 8th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. And I go down there because I know that's where you can buy like pipes. A lot of smoke shops. So I drive down to St. Mark's. And as I'm walking down the street, I see these 4 chicks. One of them is this absolutely gorgeous Filipino girl. Absolutely gorgeous. Stunning. Like, took my breath away. But we're all talking, and I'm vlogging the whole thing. You guys will see the video tomorrow. But I'm vlogging the whole thing, and we start talking about pro-life, pro-choice. And it's hilarious. I start going off on these girls, and they start chanting, pro-choice, pro-choice. And I'm like, yo, why are you guys chanting about killing babies? And then some of the girls got a little triggered. But the Filipino girl was actually very level-headed. Even though she's pro-choice, she was like, well, she brought up the whole rape argument. I was like, look, I don't think you should take the sins out on the baby of the father. Like, just because the baby was conceived through rape doesn't mean you should kill the baby. That's like doubling down on the bad things that happen. So she's like, yeah, I see that point. And then she's like, but what if it's like another, like, what if it's a girl that got raped that you don't know? And I was like, look, it's the same concept that applies everywhere. Don't take the sins of the father out on the baby. I said, however, I do think that we should work on the social systems that we have in place, because right now they're very inefficient. And I think moms in need who truly need help should get help. However, a lot of women, especially within the black and brown communities, take advantage of the welfare system. And they are actually now incentivized to have babies outside of a marriage. We know this. This is something that Candace Owens talks about all the time. And so she was very like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. You know, the fact that you care about fixing the social nets is actually, and I said to her, like, look, I'm not like some like insane, ultra conservative, super right wing thinker. I'm not. I told her I used to be a liberal. So like, I still do ultimately believe in certain liberal ideologies, such as some level of universal health care. I think that that's kind of important. There are people that get hit with the catastrophic disease or illness, such as the disease I currently have right now. Even though most days, I mean, look at me, guys, I look great. I go to the gym almost every day still, and I'm able to walk again finally. But ultimately, there are people that have diseases like what I have, like cancer, kidney failure, diabetes, that, it's not fair if they're out of a job or something that they don't get help. That's not fair. As one of the most developed countries in the world, where profit margins are through the roof, especially for hospitals can afford to help people for free. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and they do it all the time with illegal immigrants. If you're like an illegal immigrant in America and you come through the border, let's say, and you're sick, guess what? You get treated anyway, and there's no way that they get money from you because you're an illegal immigrant. You have no social security, you have no credit score here, but you still get treatment. So I think that we should do the same thing with American citizens. Like, if you truly have a catastrophic illness, you truly can't work, you truly are disabled, we should give help for that. But there's just too many people that shut the systems to take advantage, that it makes the whole thing more expensive. And it's not fair to take out your tax dollars for somebody who is physically abled and can work, but is making a conscious effort not to. I'm not about that. So there's a lot of things we got to do to like kind of tighten it all up and optimize the systems. But anyway, it was really weird, like meeting these girls like chanting pro-choice in my face. Like they don't get how sick they like. I'm going to show the video to you guys later today. These women sound sick, and unfortunately, I've been on the dating apps now, just like trying to see what's going on out here. And unfortunately, it seems like, shit, did I make the wrong turn? I must have. No, I think I'm okay. Like 90% of the women here have pronouns in their bio, she and her. And then 75% have I'm pro-choice in their bio. Like, they're proud of it. Like, these people don't think about what they're standing behind because it's so normalized. And, you guys know the Democrats have used linguistics to call a baby in the womb a bunch of cells. It's just a zygote, a clump of cells. It's just a fetus. They'll do everything they possibly can to avoid calling it a baby. So that way, when they murder it, they have no problem. And then here's what's crazy. As I'm like debating these girls about being pro-life, there's one music guy, and you know, he seemed like a nice guy, but he tries to come in and kind of cock block behind the fact that he's pro-choice. Like, I'm pro-choice too. Who is this guy? And I'm looking at this guy, I'm like, bro, do you not realize that only beta males are pro-choice? Because alpha males do one thing. Alpha males protect the species. So when you are pro-choice and you're about killing fellow humans, you are a beta male. Les, you're probably an omega male. So then this other black guy comes up out of nowhere, and he's like, yo, man, why are you pro-choice? Why are you pro-life? I'm pro-choice. He's like, are you telling me you never banged a girl you don't want to marry? I go, bro, I used to be pro-choice. I'm trying to explain to you. I used to be a liberal. I was all about that. But now I believe in accountability and responsibility. And I'm pro-life now. And then he's like, man, fuck that shit. He goes, I just had an abortion 2 months ago. And then he said something about killing the baby. And I was just like, these people are so sick. Like, this guy was bragging about it openly in front of the girls. And here's the saddest part. And maybe I'm making this part up. We could watch the video tomorrow together when I edit it tonight. But the girls were like celebrating that he was pro-choice and killed the baby. They were like, yeah, you go, boy, that's your right. I was like, oh my God, these people don't even know what they sound like. Now, all these people were in their young 20s, by the way. These were all young kids. But I don't have anything in common with these New Yorkers anymore, man. I got nothing in common with these people. At least in Florida, you have a mix of both. Like 49% are pro-choice weirdos, and then 51%, because that's kind of how the registration breaks down, are now pro-lifers about. So when you're in Florida, there's a good chance of a girl you date, there's a 50-50 chance she's going to be pro-life. In New York, 90% of girls are pro-choice. And the reason why that scares me is because when I dated a girl who actually was from Venezuela. She was Venezuelan, but the liberal ideology, the feminist movement already kind of permeated into her country. So, and she was also highly educated in Venezuela. So the highly educated typically are very progressive, and they're into the feminist stuff because that comes from the Western, it bleeds over from Western culture. So I dated this Venezuelan girl, and she was absolutely so beautiful, man. I probably should have committed to this chick in hindsight. Had I known the way my life would have gone, I would have probably, in hindsight, committed to her. She was 26. I was, I want to say 33 or 34. So it was a good age difference. And even though she was progressive, she still did behave more feminine than American girls do. And I love that about her. You know, I was really into that. And this is when I was still liberal, so it was like the perfect balance for me. So when she got pregnant, she had already left the country and went to France, which was her next move. She was only in New York for like 6 weeks. Now, let me tell you guys the full story, because it's really interesting stuff. So I meet her outside of a bar in New York City one night, and we took a selfie. I have the selfie still. And I noticed that she was wearing these very uncomfortable heels. Now, at the time, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I had a bit of a foot fetish. So I noticed that her feet looked uncomfortable. So I made a comment about her feet. And then these older white women yelled at me, and they're like, how dare you insult her feet, she's such a beautiful girl. And I was like, I'm not insulting her feet, I'm saying her feet deserve better than the shoes she's wearing. So I ended up talking with her for a little bit, the Venezuelan girl. And then we all go inside the bar, I'm with all my friends. So a couple hours go by, as I'm leaving, she grabs my arm and she says, hey, why don't you ask for my number? And I was like, well, you know, I just didn't ask for it. She's like, I wrote it down for you, take it. So she gave it to me on a piece of paper. So I was like, that's awesome. That feels really good, right? That feels really good. So I got her number. I ended up making a date with her, and I took her to my favorite little underground Japanese restaurant in New York City called Decibel Sake Bar. It's like this underground, seedy little place, but it's got good little appetizers, and it's got a great ambiance. It feels like you're in Japan. So she shows up. She looks like a fucking dime piece. Skin tight dress, floral outfit. She smelled so good, looked so good, white pedicure. I was so attracted to her. And we go downstairs, and she says to me, she's like, what is your goal tonight? And I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, I know that you want to fuck me. And I was like, whoa, let's take it easy. And she had a heavy accent, like Sofia Vergara. But she was like, I know you want to fuck me, but I'm letting you know right now it's not happening tonight. And I was like, yeah, that's totally cool. And I realized this many years ago, a lot of women will do that as a test to the man. They want to see how the man handles it, right? So I'm going to give you guys advice. If a woman ever says to you on a date, just so you know, I'm not going to go home with you tonight, she's testing you. You got to realize if a woman shows up to a date, unless she's like one of those girls that wants free food, if a woman shows up and she's well-intentioned, she probably already knows if she wants to sleep with you or not. So when she says that, she's trying to test how you respond. If you react negatively, like, oh, come on, then you look like a fucking loser. It looks like you never get laid and that you're just too excited for it. So when a woman says something like that to you, like, oh, you know, you're not gonna get laid tonight, be like, hey, that's totally cool. I'm just here to get to know you and just, like, you know, see if we have a connection. Or I'm just here to make sure chemistry. Or, you know, to be honest, I think sex is better when you have a little bit of a connection. So I'm actually happy and I respect you more for saying that. When you handle it that way, you'll still have sex with them that night, like 50% of the time. Trust me, guys, it's a test. Now, sometimes the girls really mean that they don't want to have sex because they're on their period. That's fine too. Always let the girls make the moves and make it very obvious. It's called enthusiastic consent. So anyway, but we stuck to her word. We didn't have sex that night, no problem, whatever. Started hanging out some more. Then we started hooking up, and you know, we didn't use protection, and I always made sure to pull out. And my pullout game, unlike Joe Biden, has been flawless. And I'm talking about the Afghanistan pullout for those of you wondering. I mean, I think you guys got that. But my pullout game throughout my life has been flawless. And with her, I made sure to always do that. So she was in New York for 6 weeks. I met her very early in her trip. She was working at a restaurant illegally, okay? Actually, no, I'm sorry. She was working illegally, but she was paying her taxes. So one day she left the US. I think she went down to Venezuela for a few days. She came back to the US, and one of the immigration officers asked her, can we see your boarding pass on your phone? So she pulled out her phone to put her, once she put her password in, the immigration officer stole her phone and looked at her calendar and saw that she had work listed as one of the activities on her calendar. So he was like, what is this? What is work? And she's like, okay, officer, I'm going to be honest. I am working, but I have to support my family back in Venezuela. I'm paying taxes. I'm an honest citizen, and I stand and justify behind what I've done. So he actually said to her, you are now banned from the country for 10 years. They kicked her out, deported her back to France, actually, because that was where she was going to go next anyway to become a teacher. She spoke 4 languages. This girl is super smart. She had a finance job back in Venezuela, but she couldn't carry that over here because she didn't have the right degree. So she decided to become a teacher in France because she spoke English, Italian, Spanish, and French. I'm telling you guys, this girl is a keeper. I fucked up in hindsight. But anyway, so she ended up going to France, and I never got to see her again. And I remember her calling me in a panic about this while it was happening because, you know, I was one of her connections. Now, here's the crazy part. When she was in New York, she was sleeping at these random illegal immigrants' homes. She used to work with all these undocumented Mexicans, no surprise. So she used to crash on their beds in like the Bronx. And then one of the Mexicans that she was staying with, these random dudes, who, by the way, she was not sleeping with, but he said to her, look, my family's coming. You have to leave. So she's like, I don't have anywhere to go. So because me and her had already been dating for like a week, casually, guys, it was so casual. I said to her, I was like, you know what? And at the time, this was a big deal for me because I was a player back then. I was all about being single and just banging random girls. So I looked at her, I said, you know what? I actually enjoy your company a lot. And she was really good to my dogs, Raindrop and Flex. So I was like, you know what? I actually enjoy your company a lot. I'm willing to commit to you while you're in New York and I'm here and you're here. You could always stay with me. And at the time I was bi-coastal. Living LA and New York. In the 2 weeks I wasn't here, I'd help her out with her hotels sometimes, because, it was a tricky situation, let's just say. But anyway, so she ended up living with me whenever I was in New York, which was more than half the month. And we, of course, were hooking up a lot because we were kind of living together. And, I really enjoyed my time with her. She was fantastic. We would go out to eat every day. She was always looking beautiful. She was so good to me. She was so giving. We were very sexually compatible. So we had a lot of sex. So by the time she got caught working in New York from the immigration officer in JFK, they deported her and sent her to France. And I never saw her again, except when she gets to France a week later, she calls me and she's like, Adam, I'm nauseous. And my reaction's like, so just don't go take some Pepto-Bismol. It's like, what are you telling me you're nauseous for? She's like, no, you don't understand. Like, I'm nauseous. And I was like, yeah, Pepto-Bismol's really, really effective. And she was like, no, Adam, I'm pregnant. And I was like, LOL. I was like, come on, you're joking. And she's like, no, I really am. And I was like, look, this is like a big statement. You're going to have to take the test in front of me. So she took the test in front of me, you pee on the strip. And then lo and behold, she was pregnant. And she told me this the day that I was actually at work. My last job I had in 2017. And she tells me this, and I break down crying in the conference room because I just don't know how to handle the news. And then my boss calls me in, and then they fire me. And my nerves were already so fried from just finding out I got a girl pregnant and then being fired within the same hour. I just like looked at my boss and I was like, fuck this shit. Packed up my laptop, and then I just left the company and never went back. And then they were just like, Adam, can you kind of return the laptop? And I was like, nope, you guys fired me. I was like, you have insurance on it or something? Just, I'm keeping the laptop. I was like, you guys can see ya. So that was a pretty, bad day, I guess, for me, finding out those two pieces of news at the time. And I said to her, I was like, so what do you want to do? And remember, because I was a liberal at the time. And she says, I'm going to have an abortion, obviously, except the problem is I just got to France and I have no money. So can you help me financially with the abortion? I said, how much is it? She has $250 to do it in France because they have a pretty good healthcare system. So I'm like, look, why don't we kind of like think about this for a week? Let's not jump to conclusions because once it's done, it's done. And she's like, no, I've made my decision. I was like, come on, do it for me. I said, I actually really need to think about this. So I thought about it. We had a few conversations throughout the week. And ultimately I was like, look, I have the money, I have the savings, and now that I'm fired, I have the time. I was like, so I want to keep the baby. And she was like, wait, no, you're not supposed to say this. I'm like, well, whatever's inside of your body is half mine. I was like, so I feel like I'm half entitled to the decision here. And she said, no, I made my choice, Adam. I'm 26. I'm too young. I'm like, 26 is too young. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, you've been brainwashed by society thinking that 26 is too young. I was like, 26 is a great age. And she says, no, it's going to interfere with my new career here in France. I said, listen, how much money do you make? She said, oh, I make like whatever she's making, 40K. I said, look, I will pay you triple your salary to not abort this baby. You could still work. I'll wire you the money, but keep the baby. Now, the one thing I never offered her, which in hindsight was my fault, I never offered me going to France and being with her. I never offered that because as far as I read the situation, we were not in a relationship. And I was not going to enter a relationship just because I had gotten a girl pregnant. Because again, remember, I was still liberal at the time. Now, if the same exact situation happened today, the same exact situation, I would have, without question, I would have married her. I would have gotten her citizenship, and I would have kept the baby, and I would have lived with her. And I think I would have had a pretty happy lifestyle, to be honest. That's what I would have done if it was today. But back then, I was not prepared for it mentally, emotionally. I wanted to have it all. I wanted to have a baby without being in the relationship. And that was my fault. Like I did want the baby. I did want to keep the baby. I tried to keep the baby, but I was missing that big part of, I never offered her, maybe I should come to France and be in a relationship with you. I never thought about that. It just wasn't even a thought that passed my mind. So, I lived with regret about this for so many years, guys. You don't understand. Like, I would go to like Central Park sometimes with my dogs, and I'd sit down on the grass and I'd look at men with their 2-3-year-old daughters, and I'd break down crying because I'm like, that's supposed to be what I have right now, and I didn't have that opportunity. Now, fast forward to today with my horrible illness, this would have been a good time to have a child out of the way, as well as a wife to support me. Just do things like bring me food in the hospital, do things like help me pay some bills. Like, it would have been really good for me to be married right now. But unfortunately, I lived my life thinking that my health was going to be fully in my control. And obviously, we've now learned that health, like my life in a parallel universe, I have a baby with this woman, and I'm probably with her, and she's my support system right now while I'm dealing with this kidney failure. But that's not the way, you know, the world meant to work out. Now, fast forward, she told me like a year ago, she regrets having the abortion. She wishes that she didn't do it, but still thinks at the time it was the right move. But in hindsight, wishes she didn't do it, because now she's in a sexless relationship with her new boyfriend, who just to me sounds like some hipster beta male. So you know, she has her regrets that she's living with, and I've thought about, you know, reaching out to her and trying to reconnect, but she can't come to the U.S. for 10 years, so there'd be no point doing it again with her inorganically. It'd be inorganic this time, you know. If I went back to her, it'd be inorganic. Like the way we met was so organic. The way we hung out was so organic. It really was a beautiful relationship. One of my favorite relationships of my entire life, up until the part where she decided to, you know, have that abortion. And it shattered me for so long. And I didn't even want to tell anyone this story because, you know, it just felt like so shameful, the whole thing. Like there's this shame that people sometimes feel, and I felt it for so long. But now I'm just like, you know what? Part of being a YouTuber, which for those of you who are ever thinking about doing it, is you need to be open with your audience, because the more open you are, the more receptive usually people are. Like I debated talking about my kidney failure. A big part of me was like, I don't think that I need to tell people about it and just kind of keep it to myself. But I'll tell you this, when I came out with you guys on YouTube and told you as it was happening in real time, it was so therapeutic for me. And even though I broke down crying a few times, I mean, you guys, you've seen it live. You can go back and watch the videos. I left them all up for you guys. I left them up for me too, because I realized that there's a power behind it, that you could inspire people that also are facing illnesses and show them that like it's normal to have these emotions. You know, now look at me, guys. I look so healthy. I'm 158 pounds. I've never been this thin. I've been going to the gym 5-6 days a week again. I'm not going to go tonight because tonight is going to be, you ready for this, guys? I'm going to show you what tonight is. Tonight's actually a very exciting night. So, guys, remember, I'm in New York. So if the police are watching, if the FBI is watching, I'm in New York, where this shit is fully legal. Can I show this on YouTube? I don't know if I can. I don't know the rules about this. Can I show recreational or medical? Yeah, I know it's 12/19, but the thing is, the videos are still going to be up. Anyway, I'm going to cover the keywords so that no one knows what it is. But look at how they're marketing this shit, guys. You ready for this? You ready for this, guys? Look at how they're selling it now. They're selling it in bags with Pokemon on it. Do you think Nintendo approved this? Do you think Nintendo said, yeah, put Pokemon on edibles? Not edibles, on the, no, this is not edibles. This is the actual leaves. And then I also got a beautiful thing to enjoy out of tonight. It's red and yellow. That's my dildo, guys. My red and yellow dildo. But like, think about how this is for kids. Like, this is marketing, in my opinion, kind of towards kids. So it's crazy that they're allowed to do that out here. And then this one is called Cookies. And my friends who helped me procure medical treatment here, he made sure to give me some of the weaker strains, because I haven't done this in a long time, and I was prone to paranoia attacks when I would do this. When I was in 2020, what year was it? 2015. I used to smoke almost every day for like a year, and it made me very lazy. And but I did enjoy watching adult entertainment and also watching sports when I was elevated, or playing video games. Those are or movies. Those are the four things I loved doing when I was in my elevated state. But now I'm doing it because I want to see how it does with the pain. I want to see if it helps reduce the pain. I heard it has anti-inflammatory properties. So, you know, tonight I'm just going to chill out and, you know, relax, play on the iPad for a little bit with my dogs. And I'm going to edit my video for you guys for tomorrow. Really, really good vlog tonight I filmed. Did it on the iPhone, so the quality is not going to be what you guys are used to, but still a really, really fun video that I filmed tonight. Anyway, guys, look, I got to go now because I'm finally in front of my Airbnb. I just want to thank all of you guys for joining me. I've been in the hospital, in and out. I was in the hospital 5 days last week. I was in the hospital today getting treatment. It took 12 hours almost, because I had to go through a ER because I don't have a place yet to go to. Wednesday, I have a place to go, so I'll be in and out every 4 hours. But I want to thank you guys for joining me, hearing my story about this is the first time I went into that story in length about the abortion. No one's ever heard that story before. You guys have heard it in passing, but not in full detail like that. That's almost the full story, guys. I don't know how much more I could add to that. But I'm going to relax tonight, skip the gym today. And I have Thai food with me, which I'm excited about. And yeah, I'm trying to find edible insects here because I want to do a video on the street where I want to ask people like, Joe Biden says that we have to all start eating insects. And if you're a Democrat, you should eat insects because you'd be supporting Joe Biden. And I want to see if someone finally says, yeah, I would eat insects. And then I want to pull out a bag of like cockroaches, like, edible cockroaches, and be like, here you go, to see if they would actually eat it. So that's one concept I'm working on. The second one is I want to ask these liberal men, like, do you consider trans women to be women? Are trans women women? And I know that 90% of the men here are going to say yes in New York City. So once the men say yes, I'm going to be like, so would you date a trans woman? And I bet all of them are going to say no. And then I'm going to point out how hypocritical they are, because that's really what it comes down to. Democrats are hypocritical. They say things, nice things. They say that they're for the people, but their policies and their actions are always against the people. And they don't even realize that. At least us on the right wing, we are consistent. And I'm excited for you guys to watch my debate with these 4 pro-choicers tonight. It was a very, very, very high energy exchange, but I kept myself very calm and they were calm, and it's a really good slice of New York with the shit I got to deal with out here. And I forgot to tell you guys, I don't think I'm going to stay in New York. I've thought about it. As far as getting a job, I don't think I can work a full-time job anymore. Because when I have dialysis, there are some days where I just want to pass out afterwards, where I can't do anything. And there's sometimes during dialysis where I sleep the whole treatment. I'm thinking very optimistically that I can work while I'm in dialysis. That's not going to happen. It's too much. So I really can only work Tuesday, Thursdays. That's not enough. And I don't think a company would even hire me at a 2/5 salary or a 3/5 salary. I could do that. I just don't know how worth it is. I might actually email one of the guys and just propose that to him. Can you pay me a 3/5 salary and I'll work 3/5 of the week? That might be a good idea to do. But yeah, guys, it's really the people here in New York. I don't have anything in common with them anymore. I hate to say this, but I'm too masculine in New York. I have too much alpha masculine energy here. It's the truth. And the women here, the liberals, it's weird. They're not into I'm not ultra masculine because I don't have a beer or anything like that. I'm not like a Proud Boy masculine. But the woman here, if they find out you're a Trump voter, they won't date you. And that's 90% of the women here. So I'm literally blocked out of 90% of the market here just because of my political beliefs. These women here would rather date some skinny soy boy hipster goth guy than some guy that looks like me. It's just crazy. I just don't get it. And yet they claim to be anti-racist, right? I should pull it against them. Hey, you don't date me, you're racist. That'll probably get them to date me. But it's the people here are just so, the energy is just weird, man. It's weird. They're just like the average person here looks sickly. The food here is very unhealthy. I mean, there's dollar pizza everywhere. There's halal, which is delicious, but I'm surrounded by it. It's a lot of temptation. The weather is depressing here. The crime is out of control. And then the homelessness, oh my God, guys. New York City homelessness is awful. And then the whole city's under construction. Like, you see construction everywhere, worse than ever before, because all the unvaccinated workers have been fired pretty much. It's just like, so ultimately, I think someone in the comments, I saw the word Medicare, Medicaid, I forget which one. But I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I am now a recipient of government assistance because of my disease, because they know I can't work. And my disease is one of the ones that are covered by the government. It's like, you need some help because you literally can't have a job anymore. So I could literally make that work in Florida. I could just stretch that out and just budget myself. And then if I keep hustling on YouTube I mean, I'll tell you guys the truth about YouTube. Before the election, I was making $500 a day. So back in 2020 with AdSense, because I was getting on average 90,000 views across my whole channel. Now I make about $500 a month. That is how much YouTube destroyed my income stream. Destroyed. $500, and then there was 1 month before the election I made like 10 grand in 1 month before the election, something like that. And at my peak was $500 a day. Now it's $500 a month, which is counterintuitive because the way YouTube is supposed to work is your views are supposed to go up over time unless you had like a viral video early on. But otherwise, your views are supposed to go up because you're supposed to be building an audience over time. What happens when you're shadow banned is, number one, they don't put your content out to unsubscribed users. And number two, even your subscribed users don't get notified. And a lot of you guys complain to me that you didn't get a notification on my videos, that you don't get notified when I'm live, you don't get notified when I post a video. So really the only way that you guys, most of you, will find me is, what's Adam Francisco up to? Let me type it in. Or you're searching a search term that my video appears. So for example, if you type like Adam Francisco, or let's say you type in St. Augustine Trump, my video might show up in the feed because I still appear in the search engine. I just don't appear to non-subscribers, that's how you're supposed to grow on YouTube. How else do people find out about you? You know what I'm saying? So for me, I had about 10,000, I remember this, 11,300 subscribers when the 2020 election happened. And I had only started YouTube that August. So I had about 2.5 months and I grew 11,000 subs. I remember there was one day I had like 1,000 new subs. It was incredible. Since 2 years ago, the election almost, I am at 17,300 subs. So I've grown an average of 3,000 subs a year, which is 10 a day, which is so bad. And what's crazy is, if you guys look at my videos, I have a very high like to view ratio. You know, a lot of my videos get a 20% like to view ratio, 20%. You look at Tim Pool, he's at about 10%. Now, I'm not saying my videos are better than Tim Pool's. It's the efficiencies of scale. Like as you grow in views, your likes will go down over time. But what I'm saying is some of my videos have had 30, 40% like to view ratios. Normally that would tell the YouTube algorithm, this is a good video, let's push it out. A lot of my videos will have 40, 50% view through rate. That's a good number. The average is 30%. So that'll tell the YouTube algorithm to push it out. But they don't do that for my channel anymore. So I only get discovered through TikTok. That's why I use TikTok, guys. I know you guys hate it, but I need to be there because TikTok, I actually do get some views when I talk about Trump. So for me, it's like I have to use other platforms to try to build an audience. Plus, I'm shadow banned to hell on Instagram. Be Free My Sheeple was free for about 2 months, and I grew about 500 subs. And now they're back at the shadow ban where my posts get like 15 likes. And then Adam Francisco is still shadow banned, where if you try to tag me, it says, this person has shared false information before. I don't know when it's going to drop off because I basically now use Adam Francisco just for photos of my health journey and my dogs. So that should drop off soon. And then Be Free My Sheeple is my meme account. It just makes me feel good posting political memes. It just makes me vent. I just fucking put a meme up and then I feel better about my life. And then YouTube is just for my content, which, as you guys know, is going to be mostly politics and travel. That's pretty much what my channel has netted out as. My video tonight is like a perfect balance of everything, I think. But yeah, I'm screwed on YouTube, guys. It just really sucks because I know that if I wasn't shadow banned, I should have 100,000 subscribers right now because my video quality is good, my audio is improved, my editing is good. You know, I upload pretty consistently a few times a week. So there's really no excuse for me not to have, you know, more subs than I do. But at this point, I really do enjoy being a YouTuber. I enjoy the grind. It's very therapeutic for me. You know, it's very, very therapeutic for me to have that release on YouTube. And like all you guys, look at this. Look how engaged you guys are. I love it. It's amazing to see your comments. And like, I feel like we have this like little community of like all these people. And some of you have met me in real life. Some of you, you know, we haven't. I don't even know what some of you look like. Like I see Dream On. Don't know what he looks like. I think we've been exchanging. I think your name is Thomas, and we've been exchanging messages on Instagram. But like, I don't know what a lot of these people look like. Like and that's you know, that's just the life of a YouTuber. But I do recognize all of your names when I see you guys in the comments coming in. Like JP, I see him a lot. Ken Johnson, I see him a lot. He's got a picture though, you know, and I appreciate seeing you guys all the time. You know, when my channel is like much bigger, I could do like meet and greets because I know people will actually show up. But right now, there's really no point. I've actually met 3 people from YouTube, so you guys know. Like I met 3 of you guys from in real life. I met one guy, Avery Patterson, in Daytona Beach. We went out to lunch, and we had a really, really good time. I met another guy in Orlando. We all had tacos together. He was an awesome dude as well. Who else did I meet? I met a few other people in person. But these people reach out to me on social media, and then we make plans. And, you know, I always made it public because I got to protect myself. But if you guys are in New York and you want to meet me, my schedule is probably going to be open not this week, next week when I'm on a schedule again. I'll be free Tuesdays, Thursdays. So if you guys are in New York and you want to, oh, what's up, Dylan? And you ever want to meet up in New York City sometime, you know, we could do something Tuesday or Thursday. You know, I could have 1 drink or I could have 2 drinks max, but they have to be shots, the doctor said, because the food restriction. But I'm happy to meet up with people. There's JP. He's one of the guys I know. Oh, Asbury Park, awesome. That's in Jersey, right? That's like Jersey Shore or something. Yeah, awesome. But yeah, guys, if you ever want to get in touch with me, my name is on Instagram, Adam Francisco, or Be Free My Sheeple. And you could DM me either account. I check my stuff. Oh, I met Adam Barr too. He's a great freaking guy. And his girlfriend, by the way, I don't know if you're watching Adam Barr. His girlfriend is a smoke show. So God bless you, Adam Barr. Make sure you put a baby in her, knock her up, wife her up, and don't make the same mistakes I did. At least I could teach the youth of America not to make the same mistakes I did. All right, guys, I'm going to edit the video tonight. Enjoy some of my stuff, and I will see you guys on the live premiere tomorrow of my video that I'm editing tonight for you guys. So thank you again, guys. I appreciate all of you. Seriously, I really love all you guys being here. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Be free, my sheeple, and God bless Trump.